There are pastors, medical care professionals, and passionate women and men who have joined the journey of the displaced with a message of hope.
Because these people pray while they walk. Lord, give me refuge, give me some shoes, give me something to eat.
I have seen and prayed with men that just 8 days later, when I go back to visit them to pray, they have died. Those kinds of things hurt. I've prayed for children that within a week have died.
In a sentence, all of them agree and say the country has collapsed.
Millions of people have been forced to leave their homes in Venezuela as the country continues to decline. Many of them journeyed through this very bridge into the border town of Cúcuta, Colombia. This is the Simon Bolivar International Bridge, and an estimated 30,000 Venezuelans cross through every day. They often don't know where they are going, they just know that they need to get somewhere other than back home. This special series follows the journey of the displaced. Children, women, and men who have been forced to leave their lives behind in order to survive. The journey is long and filled with uncertainty as they navigate the unknown in search of the most basic human needs. But despite the fear and dire need for assistance, they are resilient. Because on this journey, there is hope. There are communities of loving women and men who are coming together to walk alongside the Venezuelan people in their search for a new home and a new life. We invite you to be a part of this journey. This is Living Truth.
This is a special edition of Living Truth, recorded on location in Colombia. Join Brett McBride as he shares the stories of the men and women dedicated to helping the people of Venezuela on their journey of hope. This is Living Truth, El Camino.
The Venezuelan economic and migration crisis has grown drastically over the past few years, and it is the largest exodus in the region's history. From about 700,000 at the end of 2015, the number of refugees and migrants from Venezuela has now reached over 4 million. Living Truth is recording this special series on location so that we can present what we see, what we hear, and what we learn. We arrived here a couple days ago, and the constant stream of migrants is unceasing. Colombia is currently hosting the largest number of Venezuelan refugees and migrants, with over 1.3 million. The need that exists is overwhelming, as the resources available here in Colombia are being stretched to the max. Despite the physical walls and barriers that continue to go up as a means to divide, the local church and its people continue to stand firm for unity. There are pastors, medical care professionals, and passionate women and men who have joined the journey of the displaced with a message of hope. They have personally accepted the call to connect God's kingdom, and their hearts are united with one spirit that goes beyond physical structures of division. These are their stories.
Just over 500 kilometers north of Bogota lies the frontier town of Cúcuta. This barrio is filled with displaced Venezuelans, many passing through to parts unknown. Some resort to chasing after buses in hopes that they may earn a few cents for carrying someone's bag. Due to its transient environment, Cúcuta is quickly gaining a dark reputation for human trafficking, prostitution, drugs, and crime. In the local plaza of downtown Cúcuta, the faces of displaced Venezuelans hint at worry, hunger, exhaustion, and survival. Here, newcomers are at risk from pimps, drugs, or offers from strangers of rides to unfamiliar destinations. The situation is bleak. However, the local church opens its doors to everyone and remains committed to assisting wherever and whenever possible. Pastor Mauricio Miranda leads a church in the heart of this gritty border town barrio known as La Parada. Along with the evening service, Pastor Mauricio and his team visit unauthorized shelters where food, juice, and the gospel are shared. Through a translator, Brett McBride and Pastor Mauricio discuss how the church is impacting Venezuelans in this neighborhood.
What's the greatest challenge that you're seeing with the families that are coming across the border? What are they facing as they make this pilgrimage trying to find a better life?
Their first main challenge is to arrive in an unknown country, where its economy is totally different. The culture is different from the Venezuelan. They come with an expectation, and then they come to the city of Cúcuta. And Cúcuta is part of their group of cities in Colombia with the highest unemployment rate. So they arrive in one of the towns with fewer possibilities of employment, and that is not favorable. In addition to that, there are a lot of them, and there are not enough jobs. So they come with hopes, and then they crash hard. Secondly, only one or two members of the family leave with their dream of getting a job, and then sending money back to those who stay behind. The brokenness affects them very much. Some come by themselves, leaving their wives and children. We don't have good quality water around here. They drink any water they can find, so they have stomach diseases. They sleep on the street, and that makes their lungs suffer, coughing a lot, and they get skin problems. Hygiene, they don't have anywhere to get a shower. They go to the rivers that aren't appropriate for bathing, and that generates problems for them. Also, there is a lot of delinquency, drugs, and a lot of prostitution. A lot of prostitution. Among themselves, they have to survive. They steal from each other. They lie to each other. There is a lot of mental effects in their thoughts. There is a lot of damage and trauma that affects them a lot.
I understand that Monday through Friday, you provide a meal for people. How many people come through your church for a meal a day?
In our feeding program, we have 130 per day. On Sundays, including children and adults, there are 200. I think around 1,000 people weekly are benefited by our program. 300 people per day drink our water. I allow them to come in and have a shower because there are babies, moms, and men. We have moms that are breastfeeding babies. On average, 60 moms come per day. Around 300 moms come here per week.
What would you want the church to know in North America about what's happening here?
We believe that everyone's prayers, those who are watching, their prayers are going to make a difference in our lives. The people from Venezuela are not the problem in Latin America. Our motto is pouring out unfailing love. And we always say it when we go out to the streets, we need one more. We believe that we are here to pour out that unfailing love.
How has the last 3 years of being embedded in this, serving in this context, changed you as a pastor?
Many things have hurt me in my heart. I've had to cry by myself at home because I have to face tough situations. I want to be strong. I want to be strong to encourage others in their faith. But inside of me, it hasn't been easy. I have seen and prayed with men that just 8 days later, when I go back to visit them to pray, they have died. Those kinds of things hurt. I've prayed for children that within a week have died due to malnourishment. I have prayed for women who I've seen drugged up. To witness these things have not been easy for us. It's been hard.
I just want you to know, as we walked around the neighborhood and observing you and just watching how you care for your people and your community, and it's an honor to have been able to witness that, to meet you, to see what your church is doing. So thank you for the way that you're serving. Gracias.
Many of the displaced refugees share common reasons for leaving their home country, such as lack of food, medical services, no government support, no infrastructure, no employment, and a plummeting economy. Some displaced Venezuelans travel relatively short distances, like Mildreder, who lived only 50 kilometers across the border. Others, like Mario, travel over 800 kilometers for the sake of their family's future.
I've been here in Colombia for 7 months, fighting, motivated by the crisis our country is suffering. I came because of the economic situation and as well because of my health. Thanks to God, this country has offered me a lot of help in health, financially, and in every way.
My husband came last April or June. He has already been here for a year. I came to settle down here in January. I joined him with our boy. My husband lost his job. Everywhere it was hard to find food.
Well, we can't hide it. Our country is facing a very serious economic crisis. I used to work at a well-known company in Venezuela. The government limited resources, and we all ended up on the street. We tried to save the company for 6 months, but the government didn't help us. Because of that, I started struggling without a job, without resources. I had health problems. Everything was very difficult. So I made the decision to emigrate to Colombia. It's been very difficult because I don't have a family in Colombia. I am Venezuelan. My children are Venezuelan, and the two of them are here with me. And thank God, I'm grateful to the country of Colombia. Here, I'm fighting, but I have received the help that other countries have offered. And even more, a lot of help from this church where I am.
Emotionally, it's hard to leave your friends. All that affects you. And we've been here for just a year, and it has affected us. Because it's very hard to come and get used to another culture, another way of living. And it hits you a lot. So obviously, yes, I would love to be there. My mom is there, my sisters. Some of my brothers are there, and obviously, you want to be there with them.
I'm very thankful to the Republic of Colombia because in general, they've helped us and they have given me refugee status, and I'm in the process of gaining legal status in this country so that my children will be able to study.
It's hard to be in a new place with new people, although here the people have welcomed us with love. They are very empathetic people. There are people who share their warmth too, truly like a family. But you never stop feeling like a foreigner. I love my country, Venezuela, and its culture is mine. It's hard to start again to get to know a new culture. For me, it's difficult, but we should never lose faith. We should never lose the hope that God has His hand upon Venezuela.
Sometimes I want to quit, but I hope to keep on fighting here in Colombia, which has given me the opportunity. And to return to Venezuela, yes, I want to do that. But there has to be a change, because what's the point of going back to keep fighting there with nothing, without health care, without medicine, without food, without work, which is primary. Because in Venezuela, I have a house, but I don't have a job. And if I do find work, I can't get anything with it. So I will keep fighting in Colombia to press forward with my family.
Some displaced Venezuelans walk over 1,500 kilometers in search of a better life. The fortunate refugees come across tents like this along the route from Cucuta towards the south. About 55 kilometers from Cucuta is this welcome roadside ministry called Carpa Esperanza, or Hope Tent. It's a 4 to 5 day journey on foot to get this far. And for many, this is only the beginning. Here, exhausted and often weak travelers get safe, clean water, a meal, prayer, and have their battered feet cared for.
The Hope Tent is a place of practical love for the Venezuelan walkers. It started with the idea of making the road a little bit easier for the people who are migrating on the Colombian roads. We are helping an average of 200 people a day. But there are days, for example, one day we serve 500 people in one day. Since we've been working here in these 9 months, we have served 20,000 workers, 20,000 immigrants who are on our roads. That is a very high number, and it looks like this is not going to stop. It looks like the number is increasing. And we have seen how at the beginning that there were only men from the household who came. The stories we hear are that they will arrive in Colombia or Ecuador to work and send back resources. And then we saw them coming back. Why are you coming back? I'm going to bring my family. I'm going to look for my wife, for my son. Now we see whole families walking on the roads, and that's very difficult. We provide food, something that can provide them with energy to continue their journey. So we provide food, lunches, breakfast, oatmeal with dried fruit. That gives them a lot of energy, right? We have filtered water, all the water they need, but also something very important is that we wash their feet. So when we wash their feet, we talk with them, we preach to them, we tell them about Jesus, and as well we check their wounds, their sores, and that's very meaningful. We also provide clothes, shoes, because many of them even walk barefoot, or with broken shoes or flip-flops, inadequate footwear. So we provide all of that. Our goal is that when they leave our tent, they leave encouraged, comforted, hydrated, and nourished, so they can continue with their journey, because the journey is very long, and it depends on where they are going. There's still a long way to go, a long way to walk. And one of the things that we want to do is to set up more tents on the road where they are walking. A couple of days ago, we just set up a tent in Bucaramanga. We are 5 hours away by car. But for them, it is 8 days walking. So we set up a tent there. But we are dreaming of multiplying hope tents near Bogota, in the Cauca Valley, until we get to Ecuador. We also dream about providing more things, such as toiletry kits or warm clothes, because they need to cross over the highlands. So we want to provide many things for them so that their journey would be easier. We created a small support network with information to support each other, to share help among ourselves. We help each other because sometimes we had had difficulties with authorities who want to remove us. So we united and we were able to stand up and explain that this is a humanitarian cause, that we are helping. So this has been key for this humanitarian network. The majority of the people who pass through our tent are very good people. Families that come in truly looking for the opportunity to earn resources to send back to their country. And they tell me, I am a medical student and I was going through my last semester of medicine, but I couldn't finish. I had to leave. So stories like these are very common here. Very similar stories of people leaving much more than just their house. They are leaving their family, children, leaving their very heart because of what is happening in Venezuela. Whether you have Jesus in your heart or not, you certainly have a heart of mercy. And I think that there is a very valuable opportunity to help our Venezuelan brothers and sisters. You can join, you can be part of what is happening here. Do you want to come? Come. Then serve. Let us wash feet together. Let us love these people. Do you want to send support? Do it. Send it. And let us be an answer to these people. Because these people pray while they walk. Lord, give me refuge. Give me some shoes. Give me something to eat.
There's so much we can take for granted in North America. I want you to imagine that you went to your fridge and it was completely empty. Then you go to your cupboards and also find them empty. You look around your home and you've sold off all that you have to get this far. You go to the grocery store to purchase the few supplies you can afford, but overnight the cost of each item on your list has tripled due to rapid inflation. the necessary resources you need to sustain life aren't even available in your city or your country. The economy around you is failing, and there is no government coming to your aid, no humanitarian groups to rely on. What would you do? And imagine the journey, walking for endless hours each day without enough food or knowing where you're even going, and having to sleep on cardboard mats out in the open, or not being able to sleep at all for fear of being robbed or your children harmed. Sadly, this is the reality that millions of Venezuelans find themselves facing. Yet so many remain resilient as they carry on their search for a new home and life. This resilience is fueled by hope, and there are many communities like our local mission partners who are working hard to keep this hope alive through their care and support. We're asking you, our committed viewer family, to consider partnering with us on this journey to support the Venezuelan people in a time of great need.
Living Truth is partnering with TearFund and Latin America Mission. We encourage our Living Truth family to prayerfully consider offering your generous financial support. With your donation, together we can provide assistance to those who have become homeless, destitute, and sick. To offer your financial gift, simply visit our website or write to the address on your screen or call 1-888-269-6085. You can also make a secure donation online. We thank you in advance for your generous and heartfelt support. You are watching a special edition of Living Truth recorded on location in Colombia. This is Living Truth, El Camino.
Our local mission partners are long-standing agencies committed to supporting the countless Venezuelans who have traveled through the refugee highway into Colombia. The Latin American Mission, commonly known as LAM, is a partner that works with local churches to provide a broad spectrum of support ministries for Venezuelan refugees, ensuring that resources are getting to those who need them most. So Daniel, we were just at Simon Bolivar Bridge, where tens of thousands of people every day are pouring over the bridge. Now we're at a different bridge just down the road, and as you can see, there's nothing happening here. Tell me what bridge we're at, what took place here, and why is it so quiet here?
Well, this is named the Bridge of Unity, and it's ironic that it's named that way because it's a symbol of what has happened between Colombia and Venezuela, and that relationships are broken. So basically, the Venezuelan government decided to shut down this bridge because all the humanitarian aid that has been stored in Colombia was going to pass through that bridge over there.
So the Venezuelan government didn't want foreign aid coming in to help its citizens?
No, because apparently if they let the help that their people desperately need over that bridge, it will be a sign of weakness and basically that they are not doing the job they're supposed to.
So while we're waiting for governments to sort things out and eventually respond, the crisis isn't going away. What's the impact been on organizations like Latin American Mission who are still responding to the crisis that's unfolding?
Okay, so LAM is a missions agency focused on working with the poorest communities in Latin America. So what we do is team up with local churches and leaders, and we help them have tools to respond to their necessities that the migrants are having, and obviously the impact that has in their communities as well.
And as you're getting to meet people and learn their story from Venezuela, what's the common themes that people are sharing with you about the situation in Venezuela?
In a sentence, all of them agree and say the country has collapsed. It has gotten to a point where they can even satisfy basic needs. The country with the largest oil reserve in the world doesn't even have oil anymore. They are not producing enough fuel for the cars they have and for all their needs. So people are beginning to leave their cars away and abandon on the streets. And when professionals who have good jobs, they feel that they need to leave their country and go on roads and even walk for days, it tells you everything you need to know about the situation of a country.
So most Venezuelans that you're meeting and running into, they held on as long as they could. They didn't necessarily want to leave Venezuela. They love their country, but have been forced because of the circumstances.
They have their families there. They have stability there, they have their jobs there, their churches there, they have a community they belong to, and to leave that behind, I think it tells you anything you need to know.
How have you seen the church come together on the Colombian side to say, hey, this is too big for any one of us? How do we work together?
Sure, and I would say that I'm amazed and blessed by the response of the Colombian Church as a whole. We have seen people being displaced from the countryside here in Colombia, so churches have an understanding of how to organize themselves. So it's just a matter of taking advantage of everything we have learned along the way, among suffering, and using all that, using all the circumstances to put it in the service of our brothers and sisters in Venezuela.
So what I hear you telling me is that Colombia experienced God's comfort in the midst of its own struggle and civil war in its not too recent history, and how you're drawing on that to help Venezuelans in their time of crisis.
When the Venezuelan church suffers, we suffer as Colombians as well, but we are together in this. I think we can learn from one another, we can share resources, and we have to see ourselves as brothers and sisters. And as a Christian, I have to feel what my brothers in other countries are suffering as well. It's part of who I am. And I think Paul was speaking about it in one of his letters. He said, well, you have to take comfort in the fact that as you suffer, well, others, Christians, are suffering too, and they can relate to what you're feeling.
Amen.
So we have to rescue that sense of unity again, and it's awesome. We are in the breeze of unity, right?
Right.
So my hope for the future is that Venezuela is restored as a country, that they finally are a place where Venezuelans feel at home, that they can provide for their families, and that they have chances. But at the same time, my hope for the future is that we take this learning and we can serve others as well. Something amazing about all of this is that despite the physical barriers that governments can put, the church remains together.
Along with much of the world, we ask, how can we help? Living Truth in the People's Church has partnered with TearFund Canada and Latin American Mission to provide Venezuelans with necessities like food, water, clothing, medical care, and trauma counseling. Our goal is to raise $300,000 to help support the work of TearFund Canada and Latin American Mission. To do this, we need your help. Our Living Truth family has always been globally engaged. We have always acted on our call to love and care for our global neighbors. We encourage you to prayerfully consider making a donation to support this project.
Living Truth, the media ministry of the People's Church in Toronto, Canada, is partnering with TearFund and Latin American Mission. We encourage our Living Truth family to prayerfully consider offering your generous financial support. With your donation, together we can offer assistance to those who have become displaced, destitute, and sick. To offer your financial contribution, simply visit our website or write to the address on your screen, or call 1-888-269-6085. You can also make a secure donation online. We thank you in advance for your generous and heartfelt support.
Living Truth, along with our partners TearFund and Latin American Mission, are working together to share Christ's love with the people of Venezuela. Join us on this journey as active participants of compassion so that our Venezuelan brothers and sisters are fueled with hope and remain resilient in this time of great need.
Join us next week as we continue this documentary mission series and our dialogue with the peoples of Colombia and Venezuela. We ask you to keep our brothers and sisters in your prayers and to continue with your generous financial support. This is Living Truth.